Hi everybody, Max Wright here, and I promised my YouTube subscribers this video explaining when the next big price rush on Bitcoin is going to be. When is that next big explosion of price going to take place? And in order to explain exactly when and why that will happen, I have to go back in history and shatter a commonly held myth about some Bitcoin history. So we're going to do that right now. So if you ask most people about what caused the price explosion, the bubble of April 2013 for the Bitcoin, not everybody, but most people will still tell you that it was a result of the Cyprus banking crisis. And I want you to tell you that that is categorically false. In fact, what did cause that bubble is exactly the same thing that's going to cause another huge run-up in price and bubble and pop in 2016. So let me first prove that case to you. I have here the Bitcoin price of that period. And so we're over here in December of 2012. You'll see that the Bitcoin price is hovering around $11 or $12. Now, the Cypriot banking crisis, the bailout was agreed on the 25th of March. In fact, it was the weekend before where the banking crisis happened. I think it was that 23rd of March. And the Bitcoin price at that time was around $80 if memory serves. So if we go around March 24th, come up here into the price range, and we see the Bitcoin price is about $92 here. So I want you to think about this. The price in the preceding 4 months, the price went from $11 to $93 in the space of that 4 months, from here down from here. So from here up to here, for a 9x. Bitcoin price went 9x before the Cypriot banking crisis. Now, it had so much momentum that obviously it was going to do some serious damage in here. Maybe you could argue that this range from this range was the Cypriot banking crisis. Let's take the case that this entire thing from the Cypriot crisis all the way up to this peak was all the Cypriot crisis and nothing to do with the momentum and the factors that caused the first 9x. Let's see what actually happened. We went from a price of 90 to a maximum of 259, 266 on Gox. This is Bitstamp's price. So what's from 90 to 259? Let's just say 3x. So we have a price run of 9x to here, and then 3x after the Cypriot crisis. And people still think that it was the Cypriot crisis that caused this crash. It absolutely was not. And that's pretty obvious from the fact that the Cypriot crisis happened so late into it. The reason people say that is because in absolute terms, it went from $90 to $260. Well, that's, $170 price increase. So from $11 to $90, it's only an $80 increase. But people are thinking in absolute terms. If you think of it in terms of multiples, the vast majority, all the action happened before the Cypriot crisis. So if the Cypriot crisis didn't cause the April 2013 price run, what did? And the answer is this. The Bitcoin block reward halved to 25 Bitcoin on December 3rd, 2012. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Bitcoin block reward is, every time a block is solved and added to the blockchain, a block reward is issued to the miner who solved it. Now, at the Genesis block, at the beginning of Bitcoin, that was originally 50 Bitcoins, and that happens every 10 minutes or so. Every 10 minutes or so, 50 Bitcoins are created and given to the miners. Now, there's a schedule that Satoshi wrote into the original code that says that halves every 200,000 blocks, and that turns out to be around about every 4 years. And so, on December 3rd, 2012, the Bitcoin block reward halved from 50 Bitcoin down to 25 Bitcoin. What that meant is the rate of inflation of the Bitcoin currency supply halved. Now, this is huge. I don't know what the numbers were at the time, but what that means is that whenever these new Bitcoins are being created, what that does is it soaks up all of the new demand for Bitcoin. The more demand there is for Bitcoin, the price should go up. But if there's new coins being created at a rate greater than or equal to the price of new demand, then the price will actually stay the same or go down, right? So what happens is, now the price probably stayed relatively steady throughout December 2012, January, February in 2013, but the rate of inflation halved. So when the rate of increase of supply halved and the rate of demand stayed constant, what that meant is the price was bid up rapidly. And that started the wave of the bubble that happened. And that is the big thing. When you wrap your head around those concepts of inflation and that these new blocks soak up that demand, you really get to understand why that bubble happened back in 2013, early 2013. It was here in December of 2012 that the block reward halved, and it's the following 4 months where we see, crazy price raises from 10 to 260. That's 26x, and the vast majority of that occurred before the Cyprus banking crisis. So that's the real reason for that run up in price. The obvious question that leads to is, when is the next block reward halving? And the answer is it's going to occur sometime around August of 2016, I believe, if the current trajectory stays close to what it should be. So in August of 2016, the block reward will halve from 25 down to 12.5. And what that means is, as long as demand stays somewhere constant, or at least it just doesn't halve, then what that means is the price is going to get bid up significantly, and I think it will be the start of another big, massive bubble. We're going to blast through the all-time high of $1,200 per Bitcoin, and it's going to go to multiples of that. And then, of course, it will have the traditional crash and burn. It will pull back probably 50 to 80% from that. And so that is my prediction. Now, we see here that the block reward happened in December. The block reward halving happened in December 2012. There was no price action until after that time. Now, people in Bitcoin, we were very green back then. Lots of everyone was a rookie basically, and there wasn't that much money floating around, and certainly not that much smart money floating around. But I think people have learned from this lesson, and I don't think they're going to wait for the actual block reward to happen before they start loading up on Bitcoins. I think people are going to be front running this bubble, and I think for possibly as early as Q1, but probably more likely Q2, Q3 2016, that's when people are going to start front running and start massively hoarding up on their Bitcoin, building up their reserves so that they can enjoy the fruits of that massive rush of Bitcoin price increase after the block reward halving of August 2016. So I expect that bubble to start Q2 2016. That's why I think that's the case. That's the history behind it, and I'll let history judge and see if I was correct. So thanks for that. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber to this YouTube channel already. I do lots of Bitcoin videos, lots of libertarian stuff, freedom-orientated stuff, politics, economics. I think it's really, really interesting. I think it's really, really valuable as well. The next video I'm going to do, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into an article that was written on the Bitcoin subreddit, which claimed that Bitcoin does not solve a large part of the remittance problem and doesn't make remittance cheaper. I think that statement is true. I'm going to explain why it's true, and I'm going to go into a bit deeper about how we can actually solve that problem. It's something I've been talking about for a long time, but I think the community is finally ready to hear those kinds of messages, so I'm going to try again and get that message out there. So that'll be the next video. Please subscribe, and we'll see how it goes. Take care.